Ready.
Great. So, welcome everybody, and welcome to our beautiful couple. And before we get started, let's humble ourselves for a quick word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we come before you with grateful hearts, thanking you for the opportunity to have a sit down and talk about important topics like dating, courtship, and marriage, relationships. And I thank you for the beautiful couple that we have here and for their journey with each other and for them being here to share what they've learned and their experience with the rest of us. Um, May it be uplifting and inspiring to all those that are listening. And may your Holy Spirit guide everything that we talk about here today to honor you and give you glory. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. And yeah, so just a quick opener. I'd like to invite our guests and our audience. And if we can start off with just a brief introduction. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, so tonight, guys, we're delving deep and looking into practical conversations about love and about faith. And we're going to be sharing opinions and experiences. And these are just personal, it's not any type of prescription or advice. It just worked for them and for those that are sharing it. So take it and pray about it and see if you're led into that direction as well. So as to get started, I'd like to ask our guests to introduce themselves a little bit and just a quick icebreaker, maybe briefly share how you guys met and a little about your journey together as Christian Seventh-day Adventist couple.
Good evening, everyone. By names of Manzi Geoffrey, a husband to Mutani Patience, and we are very delighted to be here this evening sharing you our literal experience about marriage.
I'm Patience Mutani. Happy to be here.
Sweet. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you guys. So let us just dive deep into it, like just a quick icebreaker. Can you tell us maybe from each one's perspective how you met and a little bit about your journey along the way as a couple? Patience, let's start with you.
Okay. It was 2013. And he was my neighbor, my next gate neighbor. We stayed in the same neighborhood, Kanombe. Yeah. We were young. Not so young.
Yes, it was, if I recall very well, as she mentioned, it was in 2013. And one evening when I was with my mom, we saw Patience and her mom passing. Then they stopped to greet us. And I really saw a very beautiful girl. Then I started wanting to know where she lives. And then literally, I know she was our neighbor very next to us. Then we started from there talking, if I may say.
That's awesome. That sounds very spontaneous and unplanned, which is nice, you know. It has its perks. So I once knew a guy, uh, he was a Christian guy, and he thought that praying alone 24/7 about um, finding a spouse would bring him the perfect wife, you know. So, and then years passed, and he realized that nothing was happening because he needed to take action. So it made me wonder, like, you know, maybe we'll start with Manzi. What are some common beliefs about love and marriage that you realized wasn't true in the end when, you know, in your journey?
One thing I would like to share is there is no one that is perfect, starting from me, myself. Before we expect someone to be perfect, you first of all look at yourself first and see, am I perfect? If I'm not perfect, then why would I look for someone who is perfect? So, one thing I've learned from the Bible is we should admit that you're not perfect and let God perfect us. And then, if your partner is not perfect, also, if you find something that is different from something you're expecting, then you should learn that even you yourself, you're not perfect.
Great, yeah. That's a really important lesson of humility and self-awareness too, you know, which is good to learn. And I think with that imperfection, you can find that maybe a part of you that is imperfect or that you struggle with, your spouse is good at it, and they can help you feel better by teaching you or by, you know, learning from them how they're able to do it so well, right? So
Yeah, sure.
patience, is there anything that you can share that maybe a personal um, weakness or struggle that you found that Manzi is really good at it, and he's helped you overcome it, you know, by, you know, him being strong in that particular thing.
Mhm. So, I may start by saying the first thing that you said, the one that he was answering. The one thing that I used to believe in long-term relationships. I used to believe that long-term relationships do give best marriages do. I believe that they at the end of it all, you get a best relationship, which is not true at the end of the day. That maybe I was adding to what he said before. So what he's best in, he's so forgiving and listening. So that made me, and I'm still learning from him. Yeah.
Okay, so um, you're saying, if I understand it correctly, you said that sometimes we think that we are waiting for the best, the perfect spouse and or wife,
Mm-hmm.
but that doesn't exist. Is that what you said?
No,
And
was
that he was. Oh, okay. Sorry, I misheard you.
sorry. No, I was adding to what he was saying because you asked him that what was his beliefs before, like what changed? Is there anything that changed his beliefs after? And I thought I also believed something before. Like I
Mhm.
used to believe that long-term relationships end up being the best, you get to know someone more and it helps you maybe building something. And
Oh,
that was
okay.
it. Yeah. And at the end
So,
of the
so,
day,
mm,
I found out that it's not about long-term things, or maybe it's God first and
mm.
praying about everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
And by long time, you mean like people that think, you know, you should date for 10 years before you get
Yeah, yeah.
married.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah, you and me both know some people that have dated a long time. And
Mm-hmm.
and even then, in the end, it might not even, you know, you might have wasted all that time because people get fed up or maybe something, you know, maybe it was not meant to be. And then there's people who meet and then after a few months, less than a year, 6 months, they get married and they flourish afterwards, which is it's just about. So would you say that is? Like, how do you know that okay, it's enough, or we still need some more time to date? How can is there a signs or Manzi? What do you think? How did you know that okay, now we move from dating to husband and wife? Time to propose.
Now, that depends on how I mean, the communication relationship. In a relationship, something that is very key is communication. There is a way you can communicate with someone that you've been with for 2 to 3 years or 5 years. But again, in a year, you communicate with someone in a way that you have not expressed before. And someone who when you talk, hears very well. When she talks to you, when you plan things, and then you see there is a difference. So as she was saying, it doesn't matter the time, but it does matter only. I mean, the long time you spend. We should only look at the how can I call it the outcome in a very short time. I'm living with this person. She's good to me. When you plan things, the ideas, the ideas, the closeness, then you get to a point where you say, let's leave this stage and take another stage. Because through communication, you can see that this person, you're very compatible. Thank you. Mm.
Good point. So yeah, so basically by communicating, you can tell that you're headed in the same direction.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's the point where you say, okay, let's make it official.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for that. So I think that's an important lesson for people to get because sometimes you spend too much time in the dating phase or not enough time and you rush it and jump into marriage before you figure out whether or not you're on the same track. So
Actually,
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I'm just saying, when you meet the right person, everything goes on smoothly. You don't have to force anything, any conversation, any action. It's just smooth.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that if you meet the right person, just a video call, basically.
Mhm. The
Okay.
conversations, the ibintu bike actually.
Okay. So yeah, that's important to know. So there is a right person and a not. So it's not something. So if, for instance, if you meet someone who you is the right person, you never have to fight, or you know, love will take care of it all.
No, 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 no.
Mm.
I'm not saying that,
Mm.
but I'm saying at the first stages, when you're meeting someone, and at first or in the first weeks, you're having different understanding on some certain things,
Mm.
and it's being hard when you're starting. You should ask yourself, or tell yourself that there is a problem somewhere, somehow, somewhere. So
Mm.
I myself, I think when you meet the right person, like from the talking stages and planning stages, every stage you have to pass through. It doesn't mean that you fight or you're going to meet everything you're going to be wanting to do the same things at the same time, but it's maybe that one person is going to be understanding when you're not ready for something, when you don't want to go where he wants to go,
Yeah.
but
I mean,
yes,
it's
you're still
it's a
going to fight.
very yeah, you're gonna fight. So it's a very how I say, like it's a very polarizing take, you know. So I want to ask the audience who's watching to put in the comments if they think that love should always feel natural and easy, um, or if it's something that even if you're with someone who might not appear as the perfect person in the beginning, you know, you can build love over time. So tell us in the comments what you think. It seems like it can have both, you can be both sides. So just moving on to just typical dating ideas, like in Christian dating beliefs, right? So what's one unique Adventist belief or principle that has kind of guided and shaped the way that you approach your marriage or in your dating phase as well? Is there anyone, you know, that shaped your dating and marriage, like an Adventist belief that stands out to you in mind?
Yeah, growing up, are you there? Yeah, growing up in an Adventist family, going to church, going to Sunday schools, having time at home, praying, singing, time for devotions, all that. I think it shaped me. And growing up, I realized that that is the life I want to give to my family, my children. So, in my list, there was an Adventist man. Yeah.
Okay. So have you had to kind of stand firm on your Adventist values in a relationship before, maybe with Manzi or in a previous one, if you ever did, like where it's like, nah, you know, I'm not compromising on this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what?
Mhm.
Okay, maybe let me help her. Uh, yeah, now since you're one, then there is one thing about keeping the Sabbath from the previous relationships. I would say if someone is not an Adventist, if someone is not keeping the Sabbath, then we can't go anywhere together.
Okay. That's a good one. Yeah, with the Sabbath, it's very particular for especially Seventh-day Adventists, right? Because
Oh, yeah, sure.
at
That's
other
right.
denominations, it's not a big deal whether or not they observe a specific day of rest. You know, some people will say, you know, I can go to church any day, or it doesn't have to be every week, things like that. But with Adventists, it's a very strong belief, doctrinal belief that you have to observe the Sabbath, and it brings both a family a blessing and and you know, glory to God as well. So I want to kind of uh, challenge a belief that I've heard around and we started with. So besides praying, um, are there any other specific things that you did to actively prepare yourself for marriage? Maybe we can start with Manzi and then Patience can add.
Please come again.
So besides praying, because obviously you have to pray, you know, to let God guide your steps. So besides praying, what other things specifically did you actively do to prepare for yourself for marriage?
Yeah. Well, after agreeing on one point with my partner, then each and everyone would sit and start planning. Start planning, and in planning includes finances, preparing a budget, uh, start inviting people, including the families, making sure that you've chosen the good vendors for your wedding, looking for venue for the wedding. Was after we pray, it was a very big list we did after the decision we took of getting married, get into this marriage. We decided on one thing, then we started listing things. I said planning. I said start inviting people, telling people about the big project we have ahead. That's all.
That's good. So let me. I like that answer. So that's like basically after she said yes, I do. Oh, yes, I'm gonna marry you.
Yeah.
To the point of marriage, like the planning and working together to make sure that it's done correctly and on time. So Patience, how about before even getting, meeting Manzi or getting proposed to, when you were thinking about a potential future husband, besides praying for him uh, and for yourself, what other like active, you know, specific things did you do to prepare yourself for that day?
Okay. So that day, I think like any other girl dreams of that day and praying for it. And what I did was still praying for it and out here looking for that person, not looking, looking and asking God, who is this person that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with? So I was just out here meeting people, connecting, yeah, and praying
Yeah.
still. Yeah.
Praying is a big one, but like I said earlier, some people, yes, the man is the one that really should do a lot of the approaching. But
Mm.
even there's a lot of girls, maybe some even watching our stream today that will pray constantly, but they won't take any action, They'll stay in their house, they won't go to social events, they'll turn down, a lot of the advances that they get. Maybe they're waiting for a certain day or something like
Mm.
that. So what actions can they do to put themselves in a position to meet,
Mm.
for God to actually, uh, meet them halfway? God says, see, I don't know how true this is. I've got Iman if I should, if I should.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
so you got to kind of meet God halfway. Like you can't
Mm.
just pray and stay in your room the whole
Yeah.
time and expect them to fall out of the sky. So what are some steps or ways to prepare yourself? I can think off the top of my mind, maybe for men, even women, really like getting in good physical shape. That's attractive to anybody. If you're in good physical shape, it's gonna make you stand out, and potential suitors will approach you. So, what other things for you, patients, that you'd say as a girl, yeah, you can do besides praying? Obviously, you're gonna pray to get
Mhm.
the right person. But what else do you do in terms of your own growth and getting yourself ready for that day?
Yeah, thank you. So as a girl, doing my part, like I did my sports, loved myself, and I looked good for myself, maybe. And relationship wise, we girls or even the boys have their list saying I want a good person, good like you put the list of 5 things or 10 you want in a person. So I tried to recheck myself and I checked if I want this, do I have this? if I want this to, and I tried on that list that I wanted to see if even me can be on that list of someone. So what I like to tell my friends is that we as girls, we shouldn't listen. At least if a guy tells you something, I like to tell my girls, if a guy tells you, hey, don't listen that he said Z, dukunda kumva what they've not told us. If a guy tells you smell good, and you go in your head say uvuga ngo yavuze ngo yagukunze, who, like, you're going to higher your expectations. Huh? What nonsense is that? You're going to higher expectations, and at the end of the day, uraza kuba disappointed. So I think I didn't have that in me, and trying to see the red flags. If there are red flags, you move. Why would you stay if you see? I'm not saying that you should run away every time. You stay and see if things can work with praying, and then you. If someone tells you this, listen to what that person has said. Don't add on what you have in your head or what. Yeah.
Okay. So so I like that. So you basically from what I some of the things that I heard there was that as a girl you should be really good at like listening for the exactly what people are saying, not what you want them to, what you want to hear. Like if they say you smell good, it's you smell good and that's it. If they wanted to say you're beautiful, they would have said you smell good and you look beautiful. But if they don't say that part, don't assume it. Don't add it on top. And and also another thing that you said was that you take care of yourself, and whenever you look out for green flags and red flags so that you can kind of know if this is going somewhere or if it's not. But for you to do that, you have to put yourself out there, right? So that means accepting to go on dates and not being too discriminate a lot, just be very picky. Just, go on a date, hear them out, and then decide based on their connection there. So if you were to give advice to girls on the live, based on age, is there anything that maybe they should be doing or thinking about depending on how old they are? Like maybe from 15 to 19 and 20 to 25 and 25 to 30. Does it change? Should they all be thinking about the same things and actively doing the same things? Or, tell me how would you advise them according, one girl is this, another girl is middle, another girl is towards the late 20s and early 30s.
I think so I was too fast. So at my teen ages, I used to hear people deducting their age number, and I was like, why do people like their age? So
boys and girls both.
Yeah, both. Ariko cyane cyane girls. So as I grew up, I met the reality. And the thing is, as girls at their young age, maybe high school, I think someone should look for a career yo kuba arimo cyane than relationships or what, because on that you build something to focus on, or maybe you focus on your studies, you finish them all, ukava muri high school, uni, masters, so on. So I think as girls should focus more on building their careers, finishing their studies, And relationships, and praying for the relationships, and being here, trying their best, as maybe loving themselves, looking good for themselves. Relationships just come.
Mhm.
Not
And
as the
then,
first.
so that's your teen years.
That
And
was
then,
my.
in your 20s, what should you be thinking about, or how would your perspective change? And then after maybe you're from 20 to 25, and then after 25, like how are those distinct time periods? Would you separate them like that at all, or am I just making things up? Or like, do you see them as just one big, adult life after that?
After that, I think you're just seeing it as an adult life, and which is bringing more pressure to you. Because, in our society, people are saying the age is counting, age. So I think when you start from that and building your career at your young age, I think it helps you as you grow, as you go in your 20s, your 30s. I'm just saying at my 20s. So it helps you. At least when you have a career you're in, you're not going to face that pressure that is outside. What? Yeah.
Why do you think that pressure exists, though? Like, is there any benefit to that pressure, or is it just, you know, useless? Like, you think if you had superpowers, you'd get rid of that pressure and have people just, live their life.
I think it's good in a way that makes maybe people work more. The bad way that it brings to the society is that some people who are not yet there, some people are depressed because of that pressure, because they've not reached to what patients reached when she was 25. So I think it's just maybe when someone starts at an early ages, they have to go to their careers, finish their studies, as I was saying. Yeah, when we had the power to remove that pressure, of course we would.
I don't know, maybe Manzi, you can help me on this one, but I feel like some part of that pressure is due to our society's value in building a family, right? A lot of people can focus on their careers and forget about starting a family, and then realize it when it's a bit too late to get started with having kids and doing things like that. So I think it stems from the idea that having a family is what brings fulfillment in one's life. It's like the self-actualization of anybody, girls or guys. But the problem with girls is that, unlike guys who can have kids, theoretically speaking, into their 40s, 50s even, but scientifically speaking, girls can have kids, maybe until 45 or something like that. Traditionally, like naturally. Obviously, there's all these technologies that you can have kids later, but I think that pressure comes from the idea that you don't have as much time as the guy. Let him focus on um, career, and then you focus on building yourself up, making yourself ready to start a family. And then, because honestly, if you think about it, women on average live about 7 years longer than men, right? So those 7 years, let the man focus on the career for those 7 years. You're gonna have 7 extra years to work on your career, but for those 7 years between your, whenever you're legal to start having a partner or a family at 18 until 25, you can focus on relationship, and then after that, once you have your relationship ready and you're good to go, you can go ahead. So tell me your take, Manzi. Like, where do you think that pressure comes from, and do you think it's useful or useless?
Now, positively, I don't call it pressure. And negatively, some people call it pressure, and sometimes it's a good reminder from the loved ones. Mostly men always focuses on building their careers, getting more courses, getting more money, getting more stability. But again, they end up forgetting that there should be a time to build a family. So sometimes people do it as a reminder, but then let's take it in a context of pressure. So I believe it is needed, but again, to some extent, because let me tell you, when you keep putting pressure on the youths, young people, sometimes they will try to handle that pressure in a manner that will end up not successful because they do it because here I'm talking about gents, where you hear someone telling you, man, nta muntu ufite ko mu rugo bamereye nabi. You mean it doesn't room, it's not about himself, it is about mu rugo bamumereye nabi. So at the end, you just choose or you take what is nearby instead of dig deeper. Dig deep and choose something that is according to what you believe. That's one. According to what you love, and according to exactly what you really want in life. But you meet some people, meet after some days, they separate. And I think that is the result of the pressures we hear everywhere. People telling others, marry, 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 marry. How far? Where is she? Where is he? We need to see him. But let me tell you, the young people are struggling. The young people are in a position where the people think you will go outside and then get someone that very day. No, it's not the thing. It is something you should think about. It is something you should pray about. Then people should wait for the right time.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Thank you for that. So there's a
She's
positive
saying
and
I'm
there's
right.
a
She's saying
huh?
I'm right. She's saying I'm
Yeah,
right.
good, good. I'm not surprised, you've become one. Your minds are thinking the same. Like minds now. Yeah, you should wait for sure. I think
But there is no
don't
rush. There
succumb to
is
the
no rush.
pressures. Yeah. My slight bias is that um uh couples would be a lot happier if they started earlier. Like I feel like the age to start a family is becoming higher and higher and higher. Before people used to start families in their early 20s, yes, life was a lot easier then. Well, not easier, but you could easily support a family with not as much. And a community was very involved. Nowadays, everybody is independent, life is expensive, both have to work.
Yeah,
So I understand why you might want to focus on career so that you can be able to provide for your family.
sure.
But that
Sure.
age is getting older and older. Some people are starting families, much older, and then they're struggling. Have you heard of people that, are trying to have kids for many years and they're not able to because maybe they're trying too late, or maybe they wanted to have many kids when they were younger, but because of age, they're ending up having one, maybe two at best. So that's why, for me, my bias is, instead of focusing on career, because you can always have the rest of your life. You retire at 65, and even then, people continue to work after that. So you're
Yeah.
gonna have plenty of time to work, but starting a family and seeing kids grow and be able to be in their life even longer, seems that you might want to start soon. I don't know. Maybe people are not mature enough to have a family too. That's one thing to think about.
No,
There's like,
actually, I had that conversation with my husband. I told him we work for our kids as young as you are, as early as we do, so that maybe they should get married at their 20s. We support them as we can. We give them what you should give them at their early age. They do what they're supposed to do as young they are. Yeah. It's a good thing that
Okay.
we're losing.
Yeah. So let's go in. Go ahead, Manzi. You had something?
Again, another perspective is since this is a project, then you start by planning. So, as you said, the life we're living in, the changes that are coming. Some people have planned their life before, as my wife was saying. We said it is better we equip the kids before, then at the early age, they start planning, have that plan before. They start saying, getting married is not about money, it is not about how much we have. But again, you start thinking, if this person is the right person for me, why can't we join hands together, then start building something? Because at the end of the day, you know, you get a little bit, you just delay. But again, when you start with your wife, I had that experience with my wife. You start from scratch. You start building something that from zero, like you have nothing. You start building a little, and we believe that in few years to come, everything will be okay.
Amen.
Mm.
So I want to lighten things up a little bit and do like a hot fire round. I'm going to ask you guys 10 questions, fun questions. There's no wrong answer. And then I want you both to answer them. So you ready?
Yeah.
It's rapid fire questions. So you got to answer instantly. No time to think or. So, who made the first move, Manzi or Muton?
Me.
Hey, who apologizes first after an argument?
Me.
All right. Who's the better cook?
Me.
Oh, okay. 2 for 1. What's your partner's funniest habit?
He's a storyteller.
That's a funny habit? What's another funny habit? Manzi, what's her funniest habit?
That one? Very annoying.
Who's more likely to forget an anniversary, wedding, birthday, first date?
Me.
Valentine. You? Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay. Who takes longer to get ready?
Me.
I'm not surprised. What's one word that describes your partner?
Yes, you.
Asking you.
What's one word that describes your partner?
You asking me?
Both.
Yes.
She's beautiful.
Points. Going crazy.
In capital letters.
In capital letters. Full stop. And patience?
He's trustworthy.
Oh, nice. That's a good quality to have. What's your favorite date night activity?
Watching movies.
Ooh, Netflix and chill.
Uh-huh.
All right. Who's the bigger spender?
Both of us.
Oh no, who's bigger? It cannot be equal.
Him. I think it's me.
It's Manzi. Okay. What's one thing your partner does that always makes you smile?
He's so generous.
How does that make you smile? Nah.
It
That's a cop-out.
It does.
If you want to change your answer, you can. The stories, they're always funny stories.
Yeah, the funny stories. He always got the stories to tell.
Nice. Manzi, what's one thing that never fails to make you smile when patience
The
does it?
one thing that always makes me smile is because she fears our dog too much, and the dog knows.
Is it a small one or a big one?
It's a small one.
Not very small.
Oh,
Not very small.
not very small. Does it come in the house?
No, it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. You
Mm.
shouldn't be afraid, patience, It's just a little dog. But you never grew up with dogs, so I get it. It takes some getting
Yes,
used to.
yes,
So I wanna it doesn't look like we've gotten some comments from so they say we're enjoying the conversation. They want to know when did Patience know Manzi was the one, and vice
yes.
versa.
Do you want to go first?
You go first. Ladies first.
Okay. Like there was this time. When is the time or why?
Both.
Be specific.
Okay, when? Because when you say when, you can't just give me a date. You have to tell me like
When
what made you.
well,
What made me think he's the one
Yeah.
is that he's stayed for all that long, all those years.
He did what?
He stayed like no, not
Pursuing.
even staying because there wasn't a thing before,
Mm.
and he still said hi. He still wanted to meet. He still wanted us to meet, and I was just busy there, and
Playing hard to get.
yeah, I feel so very hard to get, and one time we were somewhere and we had a very deep conversation, and I looked around like this guy, he's a good guy. I know him. He's a God-fearing man. And I just say this is the person from a good family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's just time. When time comes, ubwenge bujya ku gihe, like let's discover that.
You know what? That's a really interesting thing because people talk about inspiration and getting a call like nabyiyumvishemo, or like it just came to me, or I was just walking and boom, this happened. And I've always wondered like, what is that? How can something just come to you out of nowhere? And now I realize it's the Holy Spirit. There's nothing else that can describe that.
Actually, mhm.
It's like you've known this person for such a long time, but all of a sudden something is just like, yeah, this is the person that you were meant to be with. But how come you didn't realize that before? They were doing the same thing, they were saying hi, they were talking to you, but it just never clicked. So when it clicks, I feel like that's just the Holy Spirit kind of nudging you. And something you said that is really interesting to me is that you were playing hard to get. And I feel like one of the things that how guys test if a girl is worthy or wifey material, let me just say that, is how quick she's easy to say yes, how easy she is. Like if you say no to me, it's almost like it almost brings you to my level. It's like if what other way can you challenge somebody's authority, or like show that you're almost at the same, you have just as much value, is by saying no. Like imagine if you could say no to your boss, or if you could say no to the president. That shows you that there's some things that you can say yes to, and something that I can say no to, that you have boundaries and you have standards. And to me, that's the thing that a lot of girls mistakenly kind of brush off. It's like, if I just say yes to everything that he says, then he will love me, or he'll treasure me, and he will value me. But no, like the moment you give them what he wants, especially things that are like whims, just test, like short-term gratification, like physical, or let me go in for a kiss and see if she'll let me kiss her on the first date. And then you let her, thinking that, oh, I don't want to seem like I'm a prude, or I don't want to seem like I'm, too strict or whatnot. But the moment you let him, then that's not really, like, that's just his physical gratification, trying to appease his body. It's like a reactionary thing that men do. But the moment you give it to him, he'll have clarity later, and he'll be like, well, this girl is too easy. Like, she can let me do that. How can, she can probably let other people do that too. So saying no and playing hard to get actually has the opposite effect on guys, is what I would add to that. And Manzi, let me come to you. Like, when did you know that patience was the one? It sounds like you stuck around a while. You are happy being the friend. You're in a bit of a friend zone, it sounds like, for a while, and until it kind of clicked for her. When did it click for you?
Then it was I think it was 11 years in a friend zone. 11 years in a friend zone.
Some people would have ran away to a new country.
I'll go to work up countries, and we be like not talking like 3 months or 4 months. Then when I come back to Kigali, I would talk to her. Very busy, not picking up the call, not replying to the messages. And then I keep trying. Then after 3 days, she just sent a message, sorry, I missed your call. And then I call again, she can't pick up. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
But again, after, as you said, the Holy Spirit, we started talking the same language. Talking the same language, telling her something. She's someone who always ask questions. And then when you challenge someone, and I'm a guy who doesn't like challenges, but she bet me up, because more challenges, and then with that conversations and seeing how we talk, closeness, and then humbleness, and then it felt, as we said before, things fall in a good position, and then I got to know that this is the one.
After all that, okay, because like most guys, if they're not getting any reciprocation back, they'll just be like, okay, she's not interested in me, why should I keep pushing? Like, I'm just gonna annoy her even more. Or was there some signs that she was, deep down, she wanted you, but she
No,
wanted you to
I
push?
couldn't know. First of all, for that you pointed out, first of all, I'm sorry to call it laziness. And then to the next point, I couldn't find out there is something inside, because she was very social, this very good friend that would come, talk about business, and yeah, the challenge comes in for a business purpose. Then she starts telling me, why don't you try something, work for yourself, careers? Then yes, but you should start doing something that can help you, that friend zone. And then by that conversation, you couldn't find that there is something in there. You just take her as a friend. But then, being a guy, being there, knowing what I want, I said, let me talk to her about this. Then things started coming slow by slow. We gave it time, because it wasn't very easy, but we gave it time. And at the end, she said yes.
That's awesome. So let me ask this. So when you said that, like in the friend zone, had you made it clear at the beginning that you were interested in her as a girlfriend, or you were just, because it sounds like you started talking about business and it was very kind of platonic friendship until eventually you were like, okay, as a man, I know now my mindset has changed. Let me ask her if she wants to date. So is it something that you kind of made clear at the beginning that you wanted to have a relationship, or you made it clear later on after you had been friends for a while and you were noticing signs that she could be a potential partner?
No, first of all, in the first place, in that friend zone, I did not have opportunity to say so, because we would
Okay.
meet today, then meet after 3 months. We would meet, I would call today, then he picks up next Friday. Then you see
Yeah.
things are not, the line is not continue. Then I would,
Yeah.
so after we connect, then that's when I started thinking of how I can formulate this, how can I talk to about this. Then we meet, and then when you start talking about that, you think she will come up with business ideas, yet this is not the target today. So yeah, that's
Okay,
it.
okay, good. Okay, so let me follow up with this one. How would you tell the difference? I don't know if you've had other situations in your life where you approached a girl and she turned you down in a similar way, or maybe tried to friends on you. How would you know when, you should keep pursuing, or when you should just, call your losses and walk away, or just be friends, or leave it? And I want to hear from patients as well, like how do you respond to someone when you're playing hard to get versus when you do not want anything to do with them? So think about it while Manzi starts.
Well, I think first of all, if you love something and you've seen these things, this thing is precious, you try your best regardless. You know it. You try your best. Yes, it is not easy, it is complicated, but by trying your best, because the more I told you, knowing someone for 11 years, someone that was there, I know her, I know the family, I know some of the characters, because to be honest, you cannot know everything, but some of the characters, someone is good, very challenging. Because one thing I liked about her was how she used to challenge me in a retro time that we would meet. The challenges were many. So
Mhm.
responding to that very person, uh, making sure, knowing someone and knowing what you love, you go deeper. You forget everything and you try your best. But again, you should try and fail. It can be possible. Uh, but me, by God's grace, I did not fail.
So what you're saying is that so what's your answer to how would you know when to walk away versus when to keep pursuing? How do you know?
Now, first of all, it wasn't even easy being in a friend zone. Then, from a friend zone, then trying now to 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 approach her in another way, not as that friend, but someone else. So actually, there is some few percentages you see, and this keeps you trying. Now that person is responding. If it was once in a week, now it is becoming twice in a week. Then you say maybe tomorrow it will be 4 times a week. And why not if it becomes 7, 7? So from that, you start learning that now I should push harder. But
Hmm.
again, there is a time you see that someone doesn't care 100%, and I cannot advise someone to stick there. There is few or a little bit of percentage you can follow, looking at how you're treated. Yes, for men, you should look at that. And then if you see things are in a good condition, you keep pushing and trying. But if you see there is no any percentage from this side, all any commitment from this side, because it is good that you talk to someone who can reply the call, who can reply the message, who can talk to you back. But then if you're a guy, you should not think that they will do that daily. Or so you have to try, but a little bit you can see the feedback. If you don't see feedback for that wrong time, not because of me, because me, I spend a lot of time in a friend zone. But if you see what could just seen for a long time, please go back. So keep searching, or keep praying, and keep asking God to give you the best partner or someone else, because in life it exists whereby you want something, you go for someone and you end up not having the one you want. But let me tell you, you think of that only because you don't have another person. But when you get your right person, you forget everything.
Mhm.
Hallelujah,
Yeah.
amen.
Amen, amen. I like that. I like that answer because from what I'm getting is that there's if the person is playing hard to get, it's fine, because you're also testing them to see how if they're a good challenge, right? And if they give you some, like for instance, Patience, even though she was missing your calls, she would text back and be like, "Hey, sorry, I missed your call." Or once in a while, she give you a call and you talk. But if she's not giving you anything to grab onto at all, then you shouldn't beg. You should have some self-respect too and be like, you know what? I've given it my best and this person is not giving me anything back. So that's a sign. They're probably not strong enough to tell me face to face or in writing, but they're showing with their actions. And so I should just, step back, walk away, maybe give them time to think about me. And if they want to, they'll come back. So I like that. I like that perspective.
Mm.
And so Patience, let's come to you. So tell me what for the girls out there who want to, apply pressure, play hard to get to test how committed the guy is, versus the girls who want to reject the guy because they see no chemistry or they're not attracted, or how can they with actions, how do they show one versus the other? What are the best actions to show that you're just playing slightly hard to get versus I'm not interested in you at all?
Okay, let me start. When you're also interested, like when you want to play hard to get, you also like that person.
Playing hard to get ni ukwigira nkaho bigoranye yo.
Go on. I say remute. Remute the Patience, please. Unmute.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
I was saying, so if you also like that person, I think you also have to show some interest, but set your standards and be busy. Your girls, let's be busy. There are ways, or they say that girls or women, emotions zacu ziba hasi. If you like someone, when he calls you, you're going to leave everything you're doing. If that person tells you, let's have coffee in the evening, even if you have the plan with the girls or with your cousins, you don't have to leave your gahunda for anyone. You don't have to lower your standards for anyone. So,
and that's not good.
No, how is it not good? I'm saying that person is praying hard to get. Maybe as a kureho hard to get, byaciye.
Yeah, okay.
If you're playing hard to get, you have to make your standards stay there. Never if you have plans and you're interested also in that person, you tell him, yes, we plan next time. I've already planned this. And maybe he calls and maybe the phone is there. You don't pick. You're going to pick when you want to talk to that person, As for me,
Yeah.
ntabwo nari ndimo gukina hard to get, ariko I was trying to tell him no, I'm not interested in a good way. Like I was saying, I can't lose this person. He's a good person, my neighbor, family friend, you know. So let me just, maybe he's going to see the actions. So me, when I don't want to lose a person, that person, I think I'm going to keep that person somewhere, and ntabwo turi bucommunicating nk'uko uwo muntu abishaka. That's my opinion. And that's
Okay.
how I do it, actually, yeah.
Yeah. So what about when you just don't want them at all? Like, are you the person that is gonna tell them straight up in text or on calls, like, yo, you're not my type. Stop trying.
Yes. Yes, I do that. But yeah, like direct, you tell that person, because there are also guys who are so direct. They come to you,
Persistent.
yes, not even being consistent. The night they meet you, they're going to tell you what they want from you. Like, I want a relationship with you. When you're not interested, or you think you may not be, even after some days, you tell them, or you tell them to try. But when you're saying no, you say no. For me, when I'm saying no.
So there's some girls who are not good at being confrontational, or they don't want to hurt their feelings or whatnot. You know, people have different personalities. Are there other ways that you can say you're not interested that makes the message clear for the other person, so they're not hanging in there hoping, or you know, you're keeping them on the back burner without any future expectation of dating them?
I think
Yeah, because some says, let us give it some time.
But they know it's not gonna be possible, right? So is that a sign as a guy? Like, if a girl tells you, let's give it some time, you should say, okay, I'm not gonna be waiting, so let me walk away? Or is that still a mixed signal? Like, because some guys might take that and say, okay, I'll wait a little bit, but you know, so is there like a nice aside from being straightforward, which is the best option, I guess, like just being direct and telling them there's nothing here? Are there other signs in actions or in words that you can say to signal to the guy, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but there's nothing here?
Yeah, maybe you can be friends.
Yeah, let's be friends. That's a common line.
That's a common line, friend zoning. Yeah.
But apparently for you guys,
What? What?
you know, it didn't work.
It did. But you know, saying no, it hurts some people. So maybe you should use some good words. That's why being friends is a common word, because one feels sorry for another and can't tell maybe.
So that was a good question from Jonathan. Pesh says, you guys know Pesh from Kanombe, and she said she's been a big fan of this couple from day one. So they loved your story. And then Jonathan has another question. He says, when you know that someone have another person who are trying his or her luck, how would you like to keep pursuing or leave it? Would you like to keep pursuing or leave it? It goes to both of you. So basically, if I understand the question correctly, he's asking, you're already in a relationship, or you know somebody's trying to date you. Maybe you've gone on a couple of dates. You're trying to see someone, if there's anything there. Do you still pursue them? Changwa urabihorera, you know?
You pursue harder.
You pursue harder. You beat the other competition. You take out the competition.
That's what you should do.
Okay, good. Do you agree with that?
Actually, it worked from my experience. Yeah.
Tell us.
Because I find they're having someone.
You knew? She told you, or you heard from someone else?
Yeah, she told me. Actually, I
Wow.
pushed. Then she gets to a point telling me that I have someone else,
Mm.
and I said, I am the one.
Yeah, I like that. Girls like confidence, I think.
Why are you wasting? I told her, why are you wasting your time?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
So what I can tell Jonathan, not everything not everything will be successful, but try your best and convince your heart that there is nothing you haven't tried for someone you love.
Mhm.
If you have someone you love, try your best and convince your heart. If it fails, if it does not go in the way that you've planned, then your heart is convinced that I tried my best. That person wasn't mine. So I tried my best, my higher best. I tried harder. Then the result is this is my wife.
Amen. How about you, Patience? If you know that one of your friends or an acquaintance or somebody that you know is interested in Manzi, or just let's keep it general. You're giving advice perhaps to other people that the girl knows that someone else is pursuing or is interested or has shown interest to Manzi. Are you still going to accept Manzi's advances, or are you going to be like, yo, I know this person also likes you, so why are you here? Or do you just ignore it?
just ignore it.
Speak up.
Okay.
Just ignore it.
Just take the advances. It's none of your business.
It's none of my business.
Okay. So, what's one tough truth, right, about relationship that you wish someone had shared with you earlier?
What's tough? Sorry, come again.
What's a tough
Tough
thing that you wish about marriage, about dating, about relationships that you wish someone, maybe a parent or a mentor, would have shared with you earlier before getting into it and experiencing it yourself from experience,
I start.
Yes.
Maybe I should have known that all this love and I should have known that love is commitment more than anything else. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Say more. What do you mean by that? How was it different when you found out versus what you thought before?
I think maybe we thought that love was that something that we've not seen, we've not touched, something that we feel that doesn't even exist.
Yarazi ko urukundo ari umunyenga.
Got it.
Yeah. And then you found it was climbing. There's a mountain hike.
Not really. It hasn't reached to that adiko. As time goes, I think even the time we wasted thinking something that is not even there or that wasn't there, I think all that we want in a person is someone who is committed to something that we are also committed to. Like, let's say a serious relationship. You might find that one is committed and the other is not. And that couple is always going to have fights, Someone is committed to something that the other is not committed to, or they are on not the same level. So I think commitment is, after God in a relationship, commitment is the second.
So what are you committed to exactly? Are you committed in the relationship or the person?
The person, then the relationship.
Okay, I want to push back on that. Oh, do you agree, Manzi? Because personally, I feel like that would put you in a position where if anything this person ever does, you'll tolerate, right? Even if they violate the terms of the relationship, you'll let it happen because you're committed to them regardless. But if you're committed to the relationship, like this is the relationship that we want to have as a couple, and you have expectations, the other person has to also be committed to that ideal relationship. So if they're doing things that go against what you want the relationship to be like, then you're not committed to them. You know, for you, this is the relationship that we've agreed upon going into this. If we said that this is gonna be between me and you, nobody else comes into this, and they go off and they cheat, then you should not stay committed to them. Personally, I feel like they've violated your agreement to the ideal relationship that you want to have. So, what do you think, Manzi? Like, is that do you yeah? What's your take on the question?
I do agree with her about thinking that it's not only about love, it is about commitment. Commitment to the relationship. When you commit to relationship, then you're following the rules and regulations. At time, nibyo namuvugaga ngo someone think that love urukundo ni umunyenga, but the end you sometimes ukabona something different from what you expected. Her see that in me or me see that one in her, but then you end up fixing things because you know this is a commitment and this is for life.
Yeah.
So I'm emphasizing on this because this is a journey. Actually, we are speaking not by a very big experience because we've just get married in 5 months. But one thing we are learning, because we are still learning and we have a lot to learn. One thing we are learning is that commitment to what you've agreed on, commitment in that love. You said I love you, then keep loving her, then keep doing the rules and regulations you discussed about. So that's it. Because love, sorry, she has something to say.
No, keep on. Go on.
Okay, so that's it, Collins.
Okay. Thank you for that one. So, yeah, that's like I think a lot of people don't really think about, or they are not warned about the commitment aspect of building a strong relationship. You know, a lot of people just think, you know, just find the person that you love, that you have chemistry with, and everything else will be okay. But then they aren't told about the hard work, the commitment, the forgiveness, the grace, all these things that you have to do in order for it to prosper, so you don't quit too early. And Kellen talked about it too, and I think she was talking about earlier when you're also playing hard to get versus continuing to pursue when you feel resistance. And she said that I think people should first consult with God if their efforts will get them somewhere. Sometimes you can try harder on the wrong person. So you have to ask God first, like, should I keep going into this? Like, I'm feeling some resistance, or things are going too well. Like, am I in the right track? And God will kind of nudge you one way or another. And it also speaks into what we're saying. And there's another question here. It says, which age gap do you think is good for a relationship?
Can you repeat that?
Age gap. I think
Yeah.
between 23.
No, it's age gap.
Yes, I'm saying.
Imyaka mu rutano.
Oh, I thought that.
When to get married?
Yeah, like
You can answer both if you like.
3 years to 4. 3 years.
And the guy must be older?
Yes, 100%.
Ooh, that sounds pretty you know, you have a strong conviction on that one, Manzi. But the guy must be older.
Actually, I've read in the Bible that my wife is the bone from my flesh. Then when you think about a lady being older than a guy, think about
Yeah.
So about what Alan was asking, consulting God is the first thing we should always do. En français, on dit chercher premièrement le royaume de Dieu et la justice. Gushaka ubwami bw'Imana. Mbere na mbere dushaka ubwami bw'Imana, ibindi tuzabyongerererwa. So gukonsulting Imana rero mu bintu mu byemezo tujya gufata ni ikintu cy'ingenzi cyane.
Thank you. And Patience, you were saying something about when is the right time to get married, at what age. So Manzi tells us the man has to be older. We've had that one. And then Patience, when should that be? Do you have an ideal time, you think, based on kind of your trajectory of maturity and all that as a girl?
I think it's maybe between 25 to 30, but it's not specific that you should get married between that. It's just when someone is matured, a girl or a lady is matured, maybe to enter in any serious engagement of relationship. So,
and you think that age is between 25 and 30? What makes that age, what's a sign that you're mature in that age that you didn't have before? Two things. Give me two things or three things that are signs that, okay, this person is mature, and that only comes, or often on average comes between 25 and 30.
Yeah, the listening of the person of that age, because she have heard a lot. Even the experience, maybe that person has already experienced a lot at that age. I'm sure of that. Yeah.
Does that make that harder, Manzi? Like when a girl has had all that experience, probably heartbreak as well, does that make it harder for them to, trust, to be vulnerable, to submit to a guy? Or like whenever they're younger, they're much more, how can I say this? Like they're much, not naive, naive is the wrong word, but like just more trusting and more, they don't have the baggage that comes with heartbreak and terrible experiences with guys, when they're younger. But over time, obviously, as you go on more dates, you meet psychopaths, you meet narcissists, you meet all these people that kind of spoil your mind and your heart to mistrust people early. So would you agree that between 25 and 30 is the best time, or if even with a little bit of immaturity earlier in your early 20s or mid 20s, you might be able to find a girl that you can lead righteously and in the right steps along her maturity?
Personally, myself, what I think is, I don't think there is the age limit of we cannot emphasize on age like 20, 25 or what, but depends on when someone is ready. 25 and above, you can do your things. Either you've done with your career wise or what, but from studies, but from 25 upwards, you're good to go.
Okay. And what do you think
unless
about having?
I've missed it.
Unless you've?
And unless I've missed your question very well.
No. I was just curious about the difference between basically what Patience, from what I heard she was saying, is that when you're 25 and 30, you've had experience with relationships, you've had
Mhm.
experience, not just dating relationships, but like interpersonal relationships, how to communicate properly, how to express yourself. But on the other hand, if you've dated, different people, by that age, you've probably, if you start dating in your like 15, 16, some people start dating, right? Maybe you've dated a lot of different guys and some of them were terrible, others were good. You're going to come with a lot of expectations. And does that make you better, to a guy as yourself? Is that a positive thing or sometimes negative thing for somebody to come in with all this experience?
Yeah. On one side, it is positive because you've had a lot, you've met a lot of challenges, but then from those challenges, you've learned a lot. But again, sometimes we get experiences from those experiences. Sometimes you start looking someone you're with, like the one you were with to the time. So it means sometimes you start losing a point because you're blaming the person you're with, thinking that if you just go around and think and listen to what people are saying, abantu abakobwa bameze gutya na gutya, abakobwa buriya ntuzabe, ariko that is from the experience the guy got from they had from someone else, which is totally different from the one you're with now. So on one side, it is positive that can build you up to learn something from what you've gone through. And then on the other side, it is negative because sometimes you confuse things and you think this person is the same as the first one, the one you used to be with, or the one we call our exes. So it is in two parts, both sides.
Okay. Yeah. Definitely. I think you're right. It's plus and minuses on both sides. I don't know. Do you think that both guys and girls should have the same amount of experience in that sense? Same amount of dates, same amount of exes, same amount of this? So let's talk about some practical challenges. So for instance, you recently got married and it takes a lot of planning and preparation for the wedding to go as planned and smoothly, right? Say for instance, hypothetically speaking, I don't know if it did happen, maybe you can tell me, but on your wedding day, something happens, that something goes wrong. Maybe a vendor cancels last minute, or you get unexpected guests that might cause trouble, or a family member, gets too excited or too whatever and just starts drama. How, as you as a man, handle this situation, and yeah, tell us how you stay composed and lead the situation without letting stress and frustration ruin the day.
I go first.
You go first.
So as for me, in my head, it was like, this is a big day. It's not going to come back. So whatever happens, don't give it a knife. And I think that helped me a lot. There were some disappointments, of course. And I didn't even, some people told me after, but during the day, I didn't see them.
So basically, you were trying to turn a blind eye to any possible mistakes so you can deal with them after.
Yes. Yes.
What if they're threatening to end the event, Maybe somebody goes up there and starts to say the wrong things, or are you gonna stand up and call the MC, be like, hey, take care of that, or do you just kind of ignore it and let it happen?
I just ignore it, and I think because in my head I said that I'm not going to, I'm not going to give an eye to anything that happened or happens before. They told me so many things. The photograph didn't come on time. Like many disappointments on that day can't miss. The what you told someone to do didn't in details.
Yeah.
So I put in my head that I'm going to be happy. I'm going to look
Good.
happiest, bright. I don't want to anything to destroy my days. I didn't give it a minute. So,
Manzi?
How it was on my side?
Yeah.
Now, actually, they've been a delay. Actually, we had a wedding on Sunday, and the venue was occupied on Sabbath afternoon. They had a wedding. So after finishing the wedding, they finished around late night. So exchanging and removing things to bring in hours, it wasn't easy, to a point that we were delayed in the introduction. So it wasn't easy because we did made sure that we have to keep time. The Gusaba team came very, very early, but we find that the venue is not ready because of that wedding that happened before ours. So that was the only challenge we had. So this delays the whole wedding because the reception ended about saa tano za ninjoro. So it was a little bit delay because of that very thing.
Oh, so how did you handle it?
The only thing we had to do was to
Patience.
Me, I was
Basically
just
having patience.
me, I was just happy this whole time.
Yeah.
I didn't care that. I told him before I like late night weddings. So we had no other option because it was on a Sunday and people had work on the morning, early morning, and I didn't care. Okay, we had a lot of people.
It's your
We-
wedding. You mustn't.
Yeah, that's what she wanted.
Anyways, we had blessings, twagize
Yeah.
abantu benshi, and when people were moving out, others were coming in, and even because it's a really big, actually, ubundi yakira like 1,000 people, ariko it didn't feel ntabwo higeze haba empty. So me, I didn't care that it was late because that's what I all along.
I think that so this question for me, what I was thinking when I was asking it is how you deal with an issue that comes up unexpectedly between you two. Because obviously you have to talk about it with each other. If the venue's not ready yet, you still have to go to patients and be like, look, this is the problem that we have at hand, you know. And then if things have gone wrong that you didn't expect, so it sounds like for you patients, your correct me if I'm wrong, but your reaction is more like, you know what? I don't want problems. I don't want to stress myself. Let me just hope that this problem will go away, or I can deal with it later when I'm in the right space of mind. And Manzi, for you, it sounds like you also want to just if there's not much you can do, you just be patient and stay stay firm you don't let your emotions go up and down and start yelling at people and start letting it affect the rest of your other life. Is this how
Actually,
you normally? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Collins, lucky enough, we've talked about this before time, me and Patience. We said, what if we get disappointed on the last minute? What should we do? First of all, she was in this mood and she was in this line that whatever that comes in will not kill my good mood, my good vibes, right? So, so it won't take it away. So the thing was, me, because telling people that we are going this very time, and then you get there, you waited 1 hour, 2 hours because they are still decorating. Looking at those who are decorating says, we find out that we find the venue full of many things. We have to remove them before. Now, you say, if I can't do anything about this, then I should sit back and wait. Yeah,
Okay.
and wait.
So, okay, think about it in a different scenario. Maybe tomorrow, you plan something and then it doesn't go as planned. So if there's nothing you can do about it, you wait. If you've already set your mind to, I'm gonna have fun regardless, then you're gonna see it through the lens of, let me look at the silver lining, let me be
sure.
optimistic, and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
ignore the bad side and look at the positives in everything. So I like that mentality. It's a strong way to face challenges in life, because at the end of the day, if God lets you challenges come into your life, is testing your fortitude as a person and seeing whether it's going to make you bitter and resentful, or if you're going to go through that as a strong, firm person. I can still keep my good heart of patience and humility and letting it come through me and get out on the other end. And also I can see the good things in it. I can see the positives, and I can lean into the positive more than kind of sticking with the negatives and just spoiling your vibes, basically killing your vibes. So I like that approach to it. So I have a question about career choices, right? Say for instance, Manzi gets a job in USA, and he gets a visa, but you don't get a visa. Patience. How would you handle that? Like, are you telling him you're not going anywhere, you're staying here? Do you do a bit long distance? Do you how would you approach that situation where it's like your husband has to leave to go, for a job somewhere else? Or do you, or even like if it's in a different country that you can go to, like Uganda, for instance, are you open to relocating with him? Is it something like, how would you talk about that, and what would you consider the priorities to be?
We talked about that already, and you're not going to be apart. So any opportunity,
even for 1 month.
1 month is okay, but I think when he gets an opportunity that is going to take him away for a long time, we're going to see and do the calculations and see if it's that important. But you think for now, that opportunity that takes him away is not.
We are sticking on oneness.
Yeah.
Good. I like that. So what are some of the considerations? Like, for instance, if even if we flip it and Mutoni gets an opportunity somewhere, and maybe you've had a long time in your job, you've been building your positions, you're now getting to assistant manager, and Patience gets another job up country that obviously you cannot keep your job, but ours pays a little bit more. Is this something where even if your job currently can support both of you comfortably, and she gets a job that pays even more but takes you away from your job, is this something where you would be willing to leave your job and follow Patience? Or how would you talk about that? Maybe not even you specifically, if you're talking to a couple that are watching this that might have that situation or challenge.
Yeah, what I think is when that thing happens, what I can say is we can just sit down, make some calculations, discuss about this, go deep about this, but by following the principle of oneness, being with your wife or being with your husband, it is something that is very good. Going apart for no reason, we can calculate that. If it falls in a position where I can go with her, I can go with her. It falls in a position where she would not go for that offer, she can leave that and live with me, and we see how we can handle that.
And addition to that, we think we are young, we can be open to any new
other opportunities,
and we can do anything we put into our mind. Yeah.
So something
and
that
any
comes
goal we put,
So and any goal we put ahead of us. So anything that can come to separate us, it is something we should do first, think about and see. Whatever we're talking about, we are focusing on how we can be together as a family. Yeah.
I like that. So you face every challenge as a team. And if you split up the team, then you're not going to have as much strong manpower to attack this challenge, right? So you face everything together. If it's moving, we move together. If it's staying, we stay together. So, so part of my question was embedded in there was whether or not, Manzi, you would be comfortable letting your wife be the primary breadwinner, the primary person bringing in the money. If she had a better job, or was a PhD doctor, and maybe you just did a GED. So GED here is just an exam that you do to pass high school. When you're older, like basically if you're too old to go to high school with the high schoolers, they're not allowed to go in their school. You just go do the test, and now you get a certificate. But then you're a PhD, and then your wife is a PhD, and she's able to make more money to support both of you. How would you handle yourself in that? Because as a man, society tells us your value is in providing and protecting your family. And so, yeah, tell me your take on that one.
My take on this is there is something we should all learn about this, because what the society says, but again, looking at how the society is growing and developing, I think one thing one thing I would like to say about this is these young ladies, or these girls, we are having the same opportunities. We are sitting in the same schools. We are having open opportunities. Even they have more than ours. So I don't think people should just be there and get rigid and say that she will not bring bread on the table. Yet they have opportunities. What you only have to do is to talk and sit as a family. Say, now this is it. How are we going to handle this? And then you conclude on that, because many guys always say that ngo umugore wanjye andusha amafaranga, ntabwo byaba bimeze neza, ngo yansuzugura. I think ibyo ngibyo ni ibiza nyuma, ariko umuntu wemera ko we have opportunities zingana, rimwe na rimwe ladies bakaturusha good opportunities. Yeah, I can accept that, and it's very okay with me. But I cannot sit just down and wait for her to provide, but I'll try my best to make sure that a little I can contribute, can do something at home.
Yeah, I think also, just to add to what you said, which was perfect, that you're open, you're not insecure about your wife making more money than you. You're firm, and so it's about keeping your manliness and masculinity in your role as a leader of the family. So the wife might be making more money than you, but as a leader, you're still in charge. You're still it's your duty to lead your family. It's nothing to do with finances. Like in our culture today, especially Western culture, it seems like whoever makes the most money of the family, which is wrong. God gave us God created us with unique but complementary skills and responsibilities. He was on purpose, like you said. The woman was the rib of the Adam. So there was like God was purposeful in who He created first, and who He made certain role, gave the role to the other one. So we should kind of keep it like that, as it is. We shouldn't start making our own rules, like, whoever has the most money is the leader. Who said that? The Bible gives us a clear pattern to follow. So even if you do make less or more money, or you're not even working, it's still your duty to lead your family in all aspects.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I like that. So I wanted to touch on culture, because you're all Rwandans. And are there any cultural kind of beliefs that have impacted you or have been a challenge to overcome as dating?
Questions? Go ahead, Myra. Any culture that
Any
culture challenges, abanyarwanda nyine they believe that aren't necessarily biblical or beneficial, that you'd have to fight back and overcome.
I think so far none of that happened.
To you personally?
To us
you.
personally.
But you know that some that happen, right? Like in Rwanda today, like how can people overcome those in this modern day and age?
Even what you've just been saying of
Money.
A woman being more financially, providing than a man outside here in the society in Rwanda. They've not ntabwo bari babyumva. Still, it even there's in some homes still abagabo babona respect ikwiye, ariko ahandi when the woman starts providing, the attitude changes and everything. Yeah.
Wow. So is there, like, how would you say the community should be more supportive and uplifting one another in pursuing healthy, Christ-centered relationships that are respectful on both sides? In what ways can they do that?
Well, before I go to the next question, just to emphasize on what my wife was saying, the society should learn that these very people we go at school together. These people we work together. These people that has this opportunity sometimes have more opportunity than ours. We should learn that it doesn't stop from there. We should also have this in mind that yes, there will be a time when you will compete, and this very person get this chance to have a lot of money, more than the money you bring at home, and then we should learn this and start understanding that it is okay. Now, to the ladies' side, after getting a good position, getting good money. Here we are talking about Christian relationship. If the best is God, as I said before, that we should focus on God first. God first, other things comes after. Then you focus on what, as a Christian, how should I respect my husband? How should I handle things when things goes this way? Then you end up seeing that there is no question about this. It is okay. If the wife gets more than what you get, just make sure the little you get, make sure you bring them home and make them work for some, take it home, and then that man can provide some few things, but then don't just sit up and say, she will provide 100%. Even if you bring 20% on the table, just bring the 20%.
Yeah, but you should still work, right? It's not because we talk about roles like the woman typically is helping with home duties like cooking, taking care of kids, cleaning if there's no maid. whereas the man's is to, provide, go out there and work. So should there be any situation where it flips and you're the one who's staying at home, taking care of kids, cooking, even though Tony is a better cook. But if she's working till 7 and you're at home, or maybe you're working till 5, then, should she be expected to come back home at 7 and get to the kitchen and start cooking? Like, how do you look at those roles that generally men have and women have? Are they flexible?
Actually, flexibility is not yet getting to a point that everyone can understand that, according to what you said, according to our culture and everything, but good enough on our side. All here in Rwanda, many families have people at home to help in those the house helpers to help in those works like cleaning, cooking, work at home. So it is not easy, you being a man and making sure that from Monday to Friday, you will come, cook, and wait for your wife. Yes, that flexibility haven't yet come, but slow by slow, things will come and people will understand this. But if I don't have a job, then I have to be home, do some things as the owner of the house, making some cleanings, taking care of the babies. Yeah, but being honest, now the flexibility is not yet there.
Speaking of babies, I want to hear your going into what you're thinking about starting a family. What are you most excited about? What do you think about starting a family and having kids? I want to know what Manzi, like what you aspire to be, like what kind of father you want to be to your kids, and why it's important to you that why you become that kind of father. And and patience, as a career woman, I know you're very ambitious and hardworking and business oriented. How you plan to balance your career with raising children together in this modern faith-based family?
You first. Should I go first? Or you go
Yeah, sure. Ladies first, always.
Okay. So, as for me, career ways, I think I have to pause for some time. I would like to have like in the Hekan, if I may say. So I think I would
In the
have
kind of means what? Like
follow making babies
with too much
No,
age gap.
no putting gaps.
No putting gaps, okay.
Not putting gaps in between. Yeah. So maybe I take my 5 years of career and I be maybe supervising from home or some time, but I make that time for homestaying.
Why is it important for you to not have in the Hekan?
Why is it important to have that?
Yeah.
So that maybe I can take my 5 years all at the same time, and I say maybe these 5 years I'm going to be giving it to my kids.
You understand we shall have 5 kids?
No.
Every year. One per year.
More than 2. More than 2. So maybe when you give those 5 years to your family, to your kids, that means maybe you're going to leave home when the oldest is like 4, which is okay. At least maybe you can leave home. That means I won't be staying home 24/7. Maybe I'll be leaving for supervision, Yeah. I think I'm ready to give my 5 years.
Nice. And Manzi, tell us, what are you most excited about, and what kind of father do you want to become, and why is it important to you to have a family, have kids?
Yeah. Actually, what I can say about being a father, it is something that everyone in the world, a young man, a young gentleman that is growing, you just think about what kind of a family shall I have? What kind of a wife shall I have? But this has already started. Seeing me sitting with my wife, sometimes I just make her laugh when I say, no, we are a couple. You know, you're my wife. So it starts
Like you're
from there.
realizing it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see it from there that there's more very good things to come. When it comes to family, then giving your time now, starting arranging your time for the kids, as we have now tried to manage our time for each other. After spending a lot of time alone, now I'm with someone. We've taken measures of how we can meet or use that time. Career, yes, but home again. Now we shall have kids to plan for the time, finances, and we always talk about kids as a project we should plan before the project. And we shall have much excitement because it is something we all want.
Yeah. Thank you for that. So what kind of father are you aspiring to be? Like you've seen some good fathers and you've seen some bad fathers.
I want to be a very good father,
Yeah, what is
a
that
very
like?
caring father.
Uh-huh.
I'm stubborn, but not too much. But I will be a good father. Yeah.
Yeah. So why is that important to you? Like tell me some specific things that make a good father and why those ones particularly stand out for you as you had a good father, I'm assuming. Are there some qualities in him that of how he treated you as a child that you want to emulate in your journey as a father, and why were those impactful and important to you?
Actually, I want to emulate my father almost 100% because he's this person that is very good with a good heart, very caring. So I want to be that very good father that always pray with his kids, and they just love me. Sometimes get stubborn, and that's the kind of a father I want to be.
Awesome. That's great. That's very warming to hear, honestly, because a lot of people don't really think about they don't plan ahead. Like this is how I want to treat my kids. This is the type of father I want to be. But once you set a goal and you have
Mm.
that vision, it's easy to work towards that because everything that you do,
Yeah.
you assess it through the eyes of who you want to be. Like, am I being what I want to be or not?
Mm.
If you're not, you correct it. If you are, then you say, okay, I gotta push more in that direction, which is nice. And how about you, Patience? What kind of mother, what attributes of a mother do you value the most and you're aspiring to be?
A strict one.
Yeah, strict one.
Strict
Was your
one.
mom? Your mom was not a strict mom.
Yeah, she wasn't.
So
But me,
so why is it that you
I think this generation that is coming after us and the ones that we are going to give
Mm.
needs a strict eye. Oh, yeah. A
Okay,
strict, but not a harsh one.
sure. There's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
So they will run
Well,
to me, then I will hug them.
Hmm?
what's that?
They will run to me from their mother to me to get hugged.
Yeah,
Bazajya bavugira.
especially the girls, girls have this. The guy has a soft spot for their daughters, because
Mm.
something that I heard was that a father is supposed to spoil the daughter, treat them the nicest, say yes to them, you basically spoil them because girls like to be spoiled, and that's the expectations that they expect from their husband. You're setting it up, you're setting the standards high for their future husband if you spoil them as a father. And for guys, you cannot spoil them. Life is tough. Life is going to challenge them. Life is going to put them through trials and temptations and struggles. So you cannot spoil them. You have to be tough on them. Let them to have that fortitude early on in life so that whenever they leave your house and go out there, they'll be ready to face any challenges that come their way. And even in their families, they'll be able to stand up and stay strong for their wives. But your daughters, man, you spoil them 24/7. But for, at the same time, the girl has to learn certain things from the mother, and that's where the strictness by patience will come in.
Yeah, sure.
So I want to wrap this up. It's late in your place, and we've learned a lot of things from you guys today. We've learned that love isn't just something that happens. It's something that you build and work hard on. And leadership in marriage is about being present and communicating. It's not about dominance and control. And communication is a strong pillar that beats any type of assumptions or just doing things as you want. It's good to communicate, and that's what keeps a relationship intact. And faith is a big part too in marriage. It's an active journey. It's not a checkbox that you just do. We go to church and that's it. But building your faith, praying every day, praying with each other, having your own personal time with God is really is what keeps a marriage together and flourishing. And you talked about how being compatible isn't about being the same. You both have different, for instance, one of you wants to be strict, the other one wants to be a fun. That being the same is about growing together through the differences that you have and having those be compatible and complementary to each other. And it's good that to have strong families and to raise kids that have become successful. It takes intentionality and strong conversations and discussions even before the kids come, to plan for them and to know what type of parent you want to be, to set them up for success. So a lot of really great lessons that we learned from you guys today, and I couldn't have had a better discussion. So I'm really happy that you took the time to, even if it's late and all kinds of challenges, but you took the time to come and sit with us and talk to us. Before I let you give us your final thoughts, I want to ask you if there's anything that you could leave the audience with, one powerful lesson about marriage. And but before that, as you think about that, I want to read some questions from the audience. I don't want to kunigana anyone ijambo. And there's a question here. How long did you date or court for? Overall, they like the honest answers. I think you talked about it, right? It was from 2013 until when? Until 2024, 2025.
Yeah.
2020, 24.
That was.
Yeah, so there's your answer. How many years is that? 11?
Yeah, about 11 years.
Yeah. There was also another question here, like, what's the youngest age to start dating? Going on dates and so on and so forth.
I think we said 25.
The youngest.
Youngest?
Yeah. No, the youngest.
17. Much.
They're asking about the youngest age.
Youngest age you should start dating. Oh,
I think 20.
20 years, okay.
May I advise between 24 and 25?
25? So you should be focused on other things until 25. Then you can
24,
seriously
25,
start dating.
24, 25, yeah, yes.
some people are not as lucky to get the first one is a hit. Sometimes you have to go through a few relationships before you find your one. So if you start at 25, maybe the first one wastes your 6 months, you go to the next one, they waste another year, you go to the third, by the time you
end up
by
in
the time you
30s.
you end up in your 30s and you're still trying. So I don't know, like, is 25 maybe too optimistic that the first one you find will be the one? Or what makes you choose to, or is it just the maturity level of going into relationships that at 25, that's when you're more serious and intentional?
Mm.
I think it.
Go ahead.
No, it is after the 25. I think the 25 it's because you're mature enough.
Yeah.
And you already know who to be in relationship with because you know what you want. Yeah.
Do you know what you want? But do you know what you want through actually dating? Like, how do you know red flags and green flags before you actually see them? You know what I mean? Like, some people, especially here, people will start at 15, 16 years old. They're going on dates, just coffee dates, trying to understand the other gender, try to understand how guys think, how girls think from a young age. So that you get used to making friends, to talking, to expressing yourself, being confident. Like, guys build confidence by having girls, at least in this relationship aspect. Like, if I ask you out and you say yes, that boosts me a little bit. Then we go on a date. The date goes well. Then I'm like, okay, I think I can do this. But then if you're going on the first date at 25, you don't know how to even act. Okay, you've had friends, but not on a like not a crush. Like, if you have friends and you go on a date, that's different from if you really like this person and your emotions are high. It's going to be hard for you to put that on the side and actually dig that deep and try to understand the person.
You can know it without doing it. So
By
when you go
reading
with
books.
the information, maybe you're going to only wait for the practice time. So I think at least at 25, you have all the information in your head. You know how it's done, but you've not did it before. Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, just taking your time. It doesn't mean that when you get on 25, that's when you will decide to start the relationship. But then you should have friends. You should have friends. You sit for a cup of coffee, you talk, you start listening to them. That's when exactly you choose someone exactly. But from those people,
Okay.
yeah, it doesn't mean that this will stop or hurt you to keep going, but it will give you a good time to try. It will not stop you from trying. Who is this person you're talking? Comparing this person to this one. What exactly do I need in life? Is it Sharon? Is it patience? How? What is the difference? Then, when you get to 25, you get in the situational edge of now taking a decision. Let me
Okay.
go for this one. Let me go for this one. Then you try.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Well, thank you for that. So, are you ready to give us parting remarks? If you could leave the audience with one powerful lesson about marriage and dating and relationships, what would it be?
Ladies first again.
Let's start with you, Patience. What the? Forgive.
Well, the lesson is, do I have it already? I think.
Actually, one thing I can share with you is, and I can share with the young people is, as we started saying, do not expect a perfect person when you're not perfect. Don't expect that. First, work on yourself, make sure you're perfect. And then, if you find out that you're not perfect, you will try to understand someone who is not perfect. And that will give you peace at your in the process. That's one. Number two, there is no rush in this project. Let no one rushes you, push you to get married or get someone. So think about it.
Take your time.
Take your time. Work on yourself. Go to gym. Read the books. Make your courses. Do whatever. But thinking about this, do not forget this. But again, don't let anyone push you to get married because of pressure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Those are really important takeaways. And if people in this chat that are single can take that advice, it really take them a long way to being more fulfilled in their relationships in the future. So thank you so much for joining us again. It was a massive pleasure. I think we've gone a little bit longer than we expected, but that's because the conversations was too sweet. And yeah, I'm glad we had this one. And I hope that we can have it again once there's now a couple of bouncing babies around, and not just the little puppy.
Yes.
And we'll revisit the talk and see what you've learned since.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you so much. People here are thanking you for joining. They're saying they've had an amazing, honest answers, and they're very thankful, and they're happy for you guys. And so, yeah, if you could maybe close us out. Again, we started with dedicating this discussion to God in prayer. I'd like to allow you guys to, maybe Manzi, to just close us out as well. Finish as strong as we started.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Let's humble ourselves for a word of prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for your love and your protection upon us. May your name be glorified. Thank you so much for these conversations that we've just had. And this is just to share the little experience we had in this marriage that is not yet matured. But then we pray that you continue lead us so that in the years to come, we shall be sharing something that is stronger than this and magnify your name again. Now help everyone that has been following, and then help the young couples and the young people to choose wisely. This is my humble prayer in Jesus' name.
Amen.